Hello everyone, welcome back for another video. Today's video will be on introduction to quadratic functions. So there are two learning objectives. The first learning objective is at the end of the video, you should be able to write the quadratic equation y equals to ax squared plus bx plus c in its completed square form, which is expressed as y equals to a bracket x minus h close bracket square plus k. Second objective will be to find the maximum or the minimum point of the quadratic equation y equals to ax squared plus bx plus c by using the completed square form. Before we move any further, alright, so we have the review of the completing the square method. So we have two cases. The first case is where the quadratic equation y equals to ax squared plus bx plus c, where the coefficient of x squared, right, which means that the number in front of x squared, the value of a is equals to 1. You can write it in a completed square form. So this is what happened. When a is equals to 1, therefore you will have only x squared plus bx. Alright, so we are only looking at, okay, because this is actually equals to 1. Okay, so we only have x squared plus bx. By looking at that x squared plus bx, we can now perform the completing the square, which is just x plus b divided by 2 whole thing square, and then you need to minus with that expression b over 2 square, alright, plus c. So that is, after that we're gonna simplify b over 2 square. That gives you b square over 4, because b over 2 square means b over 2 multiplied by b over 2. Okay, next one, the second case will be when a is not equals to 1. So when a is not equals to 1, what you need to do will be, that is a general equation of a quadratic equation. Okay, so if a is not equals to 1, what you're gonna do will be we factorize a. Right, so a will be outside the bracket. Okay, so from that ax squared, if a is being taken out, therefore you left with x squared. Bx, since a is being factorized out, therefore you will have b over a. Why is there b over a? Is because when we expand it back later, right, a times x squared, you will have ax squared. A times b over a, okay, that will gives you that b. Alright, we will not factorize a out of the c, okay, because our main objective here will be just to complete the square on x squared plus b over ax. Right, so if you continue from here, okay, so you have to perform the completing square method. So you will have x plus this expression, right, because this is the coefficient of x, right, therefore we divide this b over a. Okay, we divide that by 2. That gives you b over a multiplied by 1 over 2. Okay, the reciprocal of 2. That gives you b over 2a. Okay, that's where it comes from. Alright, then we minus that coefficient square. It's the same like the first case, right? When b, we divide that by 2 minus that coefficient, expression square. So same thing here. What happened next will be simplify that. B over 2a square means b over 2a times by b over 2a gives you b square over 4a square. Okay, so everything remains the same. From here to here, okay, we'll be just doing expansion. Okay, open up that bracket. Okay, remove the square bracket. So a multiplied with x plus b over 2a squared gives you a bracket x plus b over 2a squared. Then minus, okay, here what happened will be you have a multiplied by b squared over 4a squared. This is a over 1. Okay, so we expand that in. So this expression can be simplified. Okay, therefore it gives you b squared over 4a plus c. Alright, so here we have 6 example questions, alright, where you are asked to express the following quadratic equation in the form of a bracket x minus h the whole thing square plus k. Okay, that is the completed square form. Okay, you should recognize that this is in the completing the square form. Alright, so with this 6 example question, give this question a try. Alright, so you can pause the video, work it out, and play the video back, okay, to see the solution. Okay, so I presume you work out that 6 example question. So let's go through the solution. So in the first 2 example, okay, a and b, you notice here that the coefficient of x squared, which means that the value of a here is actually 1. Okay, so what happened here will be we adjust, so this is just your ax squared plus bx plus c. Okay, so if we follow through, okay, the first case, what we need to do will be write x plus b, in this case b is 2, right, so b over 2 minus that expression square. Okay, so this whole thing will be doing completing square on x squared plus 2x. Alright, and you'll be wondering, why do we need to minus that expression square? Okay, it's because when we have x plus 2 divided by 2, that gives you x plus 1 square. If you expand that, you will have x plus 1 multiplied by x plus 1. Okay, open it up, okay, expand the bracket, then you will have x squared plus 2x plus 1. Okay, but then the original equation or the original expression will be x squared plus 2x. Alright, so which means that there is an additional plus 1. Okay, so this plus 1 will alter that expression. So in order to eliminate this plus 1, therefore the minus 1 will comes in to eliminate it and make the whole expression back to this original. Alright, that will be the explanation why that formula comes in. Okay, so what happened next will be we just simplify. 2 divided by 2 gives you 1. 2 divided by 2 gives you that 1, right? And 1 square is also 1. Okay, next will be simplify. Negative 1 minus 3 will give you that negative 4. Next example. Example B will be the same. This is in the form of ax squared plus bx plus c. Okay, in this case, negative 3 is your b. So we have x plus b negative 3 over 2 whole thing square, minus that expression, okay, square, minus your 2. Okay, that is your C. Simplify, positive and negative, alright, plus minus will give you minus, okay, 3 over 2, minus negative 3 over 2 square, means it's a negative 3 over 2 multiplied by, okay, negative 3 over 2 multiplied by negative 3 over 2. That gives you negative 3 times negative 3, positive 9, 2 times 2, 4. Okay, next would be simplify that. Okay, you may use a calculator. Simplify negative 9 over 4 minus 2. That gives you negative 4, 1/4. Alright, moving on. Example C. Okay, so in example C onwards, okay, we are now looking at the second scenario where the coefficient of A now is not equals to 1. Okay, so now we have to do an extra step, which is to factorize first in order to perform completing square method. So 15x squared minus 30x. So from that expression, we're going to factorize out the 15. So 15 will be out in the bracket. So we got 15 bracket x squared minus 2x. So when we perform check back our answer, 15 times x squared gives you 15x squared. 15 times negative 2x will give you negative 30x. Okay, so that would be the same. Next, perform the completing the square method on x squared minus 2x. So that a, or the coefficient of x squared, a is 1, b is a negative 2. From there, you will have x plus b, negative 2 divided by 2, whole thing square, minus that expression square. Okay, and you will see I put a square bracket there just to indicate that I am performing completing square on x squared minus 2x. Alright, 15 will be out there, and positive 10 will be, plus 10 will be at the end there. Okay, everything remains the same. What happened next will be simplify. Okay, negative 2 divided by 2 is negative 1. Negative times positive gives you negative. Okay, simplify this. Negative 2 divided by 2 is negative 1. Negative 1 square. Okay, and you will notice that there's a negative 15 here. Alright, where does this negative 15 come? Okay, will be I'm doing, okay, performing expansion, okay, to open up that square bracket. So I got 15 multiplied by that bracket gives you 15 bracket x minus 1 square. Then 15 times negative 1, okay, gives you negative 15 with negative 1 square plus 10. Okay, next, negative 1 square means negative 1 times negative 1. That will be a positive 1. Multiplied by negative 15 gives you negative 15. Okay, so if I'm talking too fast, so here will be negative 15. And you have negative 1, negative 1. Okay, so negative, negative, that's positive. Positive times negative gives you negative. 15 times 1 gives you 15. Okay, so finally, simplify. Negative 15 plus 10 will give you negative 5. Alright, example D, same thing. There, so we are doing, okay, we are looking at negative 5x squared minus 5x. Okay, negative 5, negative 5, in this case is common, right? So we can factorize by taking out the negative 5. Because we are taking out both negative, okay, therefore our expression will be left with positive. Alright, so if you can double check, if you do the expansion, negative 5 times x squared gives you negative 5x squared. Negative 5 times positive 1x gives you negative 5x. Negative 1 remains the same there. Now performing the completing the square on x squared plus 1x, where coefficient of x squared A is 1, B is also 1. So you have x plus b over 2 whole thing square minus that expression square. Okay, the other remains the same. Next will be, okay, performing the expansion, open it up, okay, to remove the square bracket. So you got negative 5 multiplied by x plus 1, x plus half, sorry, square. Negative 5 times negative 1 gives you positive 5 half square, okay, minus 1. Now using calculator, okay, simplify. Positive 1 and a positive 5 bracket 1 over 2 square minus a 1. That should give you a quarter. The last two example on completing the square, example E and example F. Okay, same thing. Example E, doing factorization for 5x squared plus 2x. Okay, because we want to make sure that the coefficient of x squared before we do completing the square is always 1. Okay, so by factorize it, the 5 out of the bracket. So you have 5 bracket x squared plus 2 over 5x close bracket minus 8. Okay, copy that. Then now perform the completing square method on x squared plus 2 over 5x, where coefficient of x squared, a is 1, b is 2 over 5. So you will have x plus b divided by 2 whole thing square minus that expression, okay, the same expression square. The others will remain the same. Then simplify 2 over 5 divided by 2, that gives you 1 over 5. So that expression should be also the same. Then doing expansion, 5 multiplied by that bracket gives you that. 5 times by a negative 1 gives you negative 5 with that expression square minus 8. Okay, simplify that expression. Minus 5 negative 5 bracket 1 over 5 square minus 8, that gives you negative 8 1/5. Last example, negative 2x squared plus 11x plus 7. Okay, so coefficient of x squared here is negative 2. So we need to factorize that negative 2. So left with x squared. Okay, and you notice that there's a change of sign because take out the negative. So this 11x will be a negative 11 over 2. Okay, so when we multiply it back, negative times negative gives you positive. Alright, so with this coefficient of x squared, a is 1, therefore we can perform completing the square. So ax squared, a is 1, and b will be a negative 11 over 2x. So by performing the completing square method, so you will have x plus b, which is negative 11 over 2 divided by 2 whole thing square minus that expression square. Alright, next will be simplify. Okay, simplify that. Negative 11 over 2 divided by 2 gives you negative 11 over 4. Okay, so that will be the same expression. Simplify that, will give you negative 11 over 4. Okay, same thing, open up the bracket, okay, the square bracket. So you have negative 2 multiplied by that x plus, or in this case x minus, because simplify, x minus 11 over 4, the whole thing square. Negative 2 multiplied by negative 1 here gives me positive 2 with that expression plus 7. Okay, next, simplify that. That will give you positive 22 1 over 8. Okay, So we will move on to maximum or minimum graph. Okay, in this example, example 2, you have 6 quadratic graph. Okay, so in this 6 quadratic graph, we just need to see the pattern or identify, okay, how does a minimum graph look like and how does a maximum graph look like. Okay, if you notice here, okay, in this 6 graph, okay, from this 6 graph, okay, the first graph is x squared minus 4x minus 5. Okay, second one is 3x squared minus 6x. Third one, 2x squared plus 5. Next one, negative 5x squared plus 4x plus 3. Negative 4x squared minus 6. Negative x squared plus 4x minus 4. Okay, so from the graph above, okay, we can conclude or we can say that the quadratic function, okay, or the quadratic equation ax squared plus bx plus c will have a minimum point, okay, if a is positive. Okay, and you see it was stated here that you refer to the graph fx, gx, and hx that refer to this tree graph. Okay, what does that mean is because that coefficient is 1x squared, that coefficient here is a positive a. Okay, this is a positive 1, and this is your coefficient of a. Okay, all the three graphs are having a positive a, therefore this is a minimum graph. Okay, next one, the graph will have a maximum point if a is negative by referring to the graph p, q, and r. Okay, so you can notice here that is the value of a. First one is negative 5. Second graph will have negative 4 as a value of a. Third graph has a value of a of negative 1. Okay, so you can summarize that in the next table. Okay, so the curve y equals to a bracket x minus h the whole thing square plus k. Okay, this is the completed square form of a quadratic expression. Okay, so this curve is called a parabola. So they will have either a maximum or a minimum point. Okay, so from the previous 6 graph, we say that if a is greater than 0, which means that a is positive, okay, then we have a minimum graph, okay, with the point hk as a minimum point. Okay, why is that a minimum point? Okay, because that will be the lowest point. Okay, minimum point, that will be lowest point. All right, so that is the lowest point on the graph. Okay, and for a less than 0, okay, less than 0, that will mean, okay, it's a negative number. Okay, when a is negative, therefore a is a maximum graph with hk as the maximum point. So in this case, maximum point means is the highest point. Okay, so you can see from the graph, hk is the highest point of the graph. Okay, so the easier way on how are we gonna know whether it's positive, whether it's a minimum graph or a maximum graph will be, since it's a positive a, okay, the either from the completed the square form, the coefficient of a, or just by looking at the general equation of the quadratic ax squared plus bx plus ax squared plus bx plus c, all right, that value of a will determine whether it's a minimum or a maximum. Okay, so another easier way to remember will be, because it's a positive a, okay, and positive a will give you a minimum graph. Since it's a negative value of a, so a negative value will give you a sad face. Okay, positive gives you a happy face, negative gives you a sad face. Okay, so that will be another way on how you're gonna remember Okay, whether you have a minimum graph or a maximum graph based on the coefficient, based on the value of a. All right, so moving on to the next example. Okay, example 3 says that find the minimum point of the graph y equals to 3x squared minus 4x plus 1. Okay, so it says a minimum point. Okay, why is it mentioning minimum point? It's because the coefficient of a here is 3, which is positive. All right, so positive a gives you a smiley face. Therefore, you have a minimum point, lowest point. All right, so in order to find the minimum point, what you need to do will be to write that expression. Okay, we need to write it in, change 3x squared minus 4x plus 1 into that expression in the completed square form expression, which is a bracket x minus h squared plus k. All right, so since the coefficient of x squared here is 3, which is not equals to 1, therefore we need to factorize it. Okay, so therefore you will have, okay, by looking only at 3x squared minus 4x, so we factorize out the 3, left with x squared minus 4 over 3x plus 1. Now perform the completing square on x squared minus 4 over 3x, where your a is 1, your b is negative 4 over 3. Alright, so from the completing square method, we have x plus b, which is negative 4 over 3, divided by 2, whole thing square, minus that expression square. Okay, next will be simplify. Okay, negative 4 over 3 divided by 2 gives you negative 2 over 3, times by positive gives you that negative 2/3. Alright, so that expression and this should be simplified and gives you negative 2 over 3. Okay, and what happened next will be open up the bracket. Okay, the square bracket, open it up, so you got 3 bracket x minus 2 over 3 whole thing square. 3 times negative 1 gives you negative 3. Okay, I do an simplification expansion here. Negative 2 over 3 square means negative 2 over 3 multiplied by negative 2 over 3. So negative 2 times negative 2, positive 4. 3 times 3 gives you 9. Okay, next will be simplify that. Okay, negative 3 bracket 4 over 9 close bracket plus 1, that should give you negative 1 over 3. Okay, therefore the minimum point, all right, if you remember the minimum point just now, okay, from there, the minimum point hk come from that value h and that value of k. Okay, how do you get that point? Is because of that x minus x equals to h as the line of symmetry. So okay, sorry. Uh, so okay, so where will this hk call point come from is when this x minus h is equals to 0. Okay, because it's either the maximum or the minimum point. So when x minus h is equals to 0, so you get x is equals to a positive h. All right, or okay, we will see an example later where this is when we have another expression of x plus h later. Okay, so if looking at here, so the minimum point will occur when x minus 2 over 3, the whole thing square, is equals to 0, which means that the value of x will be equals to 2 over 3. Okay, so when that value x is equals to 2 over 3, alright, so we have 2 over 3 minus 2 over 3, which is the 0. So a 0 square is 0, multiplied by 3 is still a 0. Therefore, your y value, okay, this is all represented by y. Therefore, y is equals to negative 1 over 3. Okay, so that will be the lowest point of the graph. Okay, therefore the minimum point is 2/3. For the x coordinate is 2/3, and the y coordinate is -1/3. Okay, next one. Okay, example 4, it say find the maximum point here. Okay, how do we know it's a maximum? It's because when we rewrite that equation, y equals to 5 minus x minus 2x squared. Okay, so if you rewrite in the form of ax squared plus bx plus c, okay, you can notice that a is actually -2. So since a is a negative, okay, therefore we have a set face. Okay, therefore it's a maximum point, the highest point. Right here, if you notice, a is a -2, which means that the coefficient of x squared is not 1. Okay, so therefore you need to factorize by taking out the -2. Okay, so perform factorize on that expression, -2x squared minus x. So you have -2 x squared plus x/2 plus 5. Now perform completing a square. Okay, because a coefficient of x squared, a value of a is equals to 1, and the value of b is actually 1/2. Alright, so you have x plus b/2 whole thing square minus the expression power 2. Then simplify. 1/2 divided by 2 gives you 1/4. Okay, that if you simplify gives you 1/4. And then this 1/16 is actually coming from here, square. Okay, because you know that that expression is 1/4. If you square it, gives you 1/16. Okay, next one will be expand. Open up the square bracket, okay, which is clearly shown here. So you got -2 bracket x plus 1/4 close bracket square plus, because minus times minus gives you plus 2 multiplied by 1/16 plus 5. Okay, next will be simplify. That expression gives you positive 5 1/8. Alright, so here you will see that the expression here, okay, is -2 bracket x plus 1/4 close bracket square plus 5 1/8. Okay, this is the same, okay, as -2 x minus a -1/4, okay, the whole thing square plus 5 1/8. Okay, therefore this is in the form of a bracket x minus h square plus k. So you can notice that the value of h is actually -1/4, and the value of k is actually 5 1/8. Alright, or in other way as what I mentioned just now. Okay, since it's a maximum point, okay, maximum point or minimum point is when the whole expression here, okay, the whole bracket here should be equal to 0. So therefore x plus 1/4 equals to 0. Okay, so if you do x plus 1/4 equals to 0, make x a subject, you will have -1/4. Okay, therefore the x coordinate is -1/4. Okay, so since this whole thing is equals to 0 now when x equals to 1/4, okay, because -1/4 plus 1/4, that is 0. 0 squared is 0, times by -2 is still 0. Therefore, that value of y will be equals to 5 1/8. Alright, okay, one more thing will be, okay, we don't show this working, okay, in part of in any of your, okay, this working will should not be shown in part of any of your presentation. So this will be just working either in your mind mentally, or you do it, okay, so it can you don't show this okay, in any way of your working. All right, so hopefully that's clear. Okay, next, you have 10 exercise question where the question call you to find the maximum or the minimum point of the following graph. All right, so which means that all these you need to do completing the square and then find the maximum point, okay, when the value is a negative, okay, if the coefficient of x squared is a negative, so in this case it's a negative 1 x squared. All right, so if this is actually negative 1 x squared plus 0x plus 6. All right, so coefficient of a is actually negative, therefore there's a maximum graph, so you're finding a maximum point. All right, so here a is actually 1, positive 1, which means if a is positive, so positive will be smiley face, so it's a minimum graph. So this is actually you're finding the minimum point. All right, so same thing with all the rest. All right, you just need to do completing the square, then find whether it's a maximum if a is negative, find the minimum when a is positive. All right, and number 9 and number 10, what you need to do with this factorized form will be you need to do expansion, then complete the square. Okay, so that's it for today's video. Hope to see you in the next video. Bye bye.